Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, Napoleon Bonaparte. Imagine a man who wept because conquering 2 million square miles wasn't enough. Glory hunter Alexander cared for only one thing: conquest. He threw his army into battle without fear, as if immortal. For 10 years, victory followed him. His men, exhausted and longing to enjoy the spoils, begged to return home. But Alexander cared for no riches and little for ruling. Conquest alone drove him. Everything went well until India. In his toughest battle against Porus, Alexander lost many men, was wounded, and his horse died. Across the river, a fresh army awaited. His exhausted men pleaded to end the campaign, but Alexander refused. Infamous for his drinking, one night he overindulged and fell gravely ill. Opportunistic generals asked, "Who shall inherit your empire?" Alexander replied, "The strongest." This sparked a 50-year war among his generals, breaking the Macedonian Empire before it could fully exist. Greek historians claimed his body didn't decompose for 6 days, suggesting divinity. Modern science believes he may have been in a coma, possibly aware of the plots against him before being buried alive. Next, Gaius Julius Caesar, Alexander's admirer. While Alexander wept for lack of worlds to conquer, Caesar cried reading Alexander's achievements. "At my age, he had defeated Darius," he told his men. "And what have I accomplished?" Like Alexander, Caesar became self-obsessed. Rising as a general and statesman, he undermined the Roman Republic and declared himself dictator perpetuo. He famously said, "If you must break the law, do it to seize power. Otherwise, obey it." On March 15th, 44 BC, 60 senators assassinated him in the Senate, stabbing him 23 times. Among the attackers was his trusted ally and adopted son, Marcus Brutus. In the medieval era, the Crusaders were overshadowed by Genghis Khan, the beast of the East. He conquered twice as much land as Alexander, seeking to bring the world under one sword. Unlike Alexander or Caesar, he did not see himself as divine. He knew he was a tyrant. He boasted, "The greatest happiness is to scatter your enemies, see their cities in ashes and their loved ones in tears." His death is mysterious. Some say plague, others say an arrow or fatal castration by a princess he had captured. To protect his empire, Khan instructed followers to keep his death secret. His funeral route was slaughtered to prevent discovery. Finally, Napoleon Bonaparte. The greatest conqueror to live was Napoleon Bonaparte. The transition from swords and spears to artillery had taken place, and Napoleon was an undisputed genius in this art of war. Although he became emperor in the name of defending revolutionary France, one can see his ambitions carried him far beyond his personality. Was probably even more bizarre than the rest of the great conquerors. Caesar considered himself to be the only messiah to his people. Alexander thought himself to be a god. Genghis was a tyrant steppe overlord. While Napoleon considered himself an artist of war, he is reported to have said, "I love power, but it is as an artist that I love it to him." The battlefield was a painting, and he was an artist drawing it. His power of concentration was enormous, as was his memory for detail and facts. Once on a campaign in 1805, one of his subordinates could not locate his division. While his aides searched through maps and papers, the emperor informed the officer of his unit's present location, where he would be for the next 3 nights, the status and resume of the unit's strength, as well as the subordinate's military record. This out of an army with 7 corps, a total of 200,000 men with all the units on the moon. It was all pictured in his head. He swept victories throughout parts of Europe and the Mediterranean region, with his forces moving as swiftly as the wind, only louder. However, the stakes got higher and higher. The death toll mounted, and the battles became even more blood-soaked. Eventually, he was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815 and was captured by the British forces. He was not sentenced to death, since the British did not want him to die as a martyr. Instead, they house arrested him with a few of his followers in a rotten bungalow. He lived the rest of his life in constant denial of his circumstances when he held the dinner party. Men were expected to wear military dress, and women appeared in evening gowns and gems. He wanted to feel like he was still ruling. Years of isolation and loneliness took a toll on him, and he finally died on the 5th of May, 1821, making his last confession. France, the army, head of the army. Josephine, he basically expressed everything dear to him, his country, his military career, and his wife Josephine. This was the end of the great four conquerors. Someone among them died due to sudden illness. Another was killed in trade by his own men. An arrow took the better of Genghis Khan, while the artist died in captivity. Although the four great conquerors left this world in different circumstances, they had but one thing in common. They all died, desiring for more.
Subscribe if you believe legends like Alexander, Caesar, Genghis, and Napoleon should never be forgotten.